It is 6:01 p.m. and I'm going to call this meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Good evening, everyone. The Planning Commission meeting will be conducted via teleconference pursuant to Government Code Section 54953, Section E, or subsection E. On October 20th, 2021, the City Council adopted Resolution 21-80, confirming that a statewide state of emergency continues to exist because of COVID-19 virus pandemic, and that the Yolo County Public Health Officer continues to recommend measures to promote social distancing. The Commission and City staff shall take all actions required by Section 54953, subsection E, to protect public access and right to comment. Members of the public are asked to watch the meeting live stream or via Wave Cable Channel 20 and submit comments in writing by 5 p.m. on June 2nd, 2022. We'll move on. We'll go to the first items on the agenda. General administration function part 1. Presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the commission. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone seeking to comment tonight?
If anybody would wish to comment, please raise your hand. Not seeing any hands.
Okay. I'm just going to give this a last call. This is the last call to comment on any items not on tonight's agenda. Okay. Moving on to Part B, correspondence and staff communications from the Planning Commission Secretary, Mr. Tilley.
Yes, a couple items to note tonight. We are going to remain on our virtual platform this month and also July. We will not be returning to in-person until after the City Council meets in person, and right now that is scheduled for their July 20th meeting. So I will let the commissioners know well in advance if we know for certain when we will be meeting in person, because that will be obviously a change. And most of you are not familiar with being there in the council chambers and having to go to City Hall, for example, instead of being at home. So we will certainly inform everyone of that once that's solidified. But that is the plan as it stands now. Otherwise, we will remain in this platform, and then we'll have, once we get closer to meeting in person, we can have some further discussion about just what that will mean and what changes that may mean for our commissioners. So that is all for staff communications at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Tilley. Next up, Part C, disclosure of ex parte communications. Planning commissioners should disclose any communications they have had on the agenda items at this time. Does anyone have anything to disclose? Seeing nothing. Moving on to the consent agenda. Consideration and approval of the minutes from the April 21st, wow, it's been long, guys, 2022 commission meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve.
Commissioner Sablon moves. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Commissioner Steger seconds. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Commissioner Sablon?
Aye.
Commissioner Hirsch?
Aye.
Commissioner Middleman?
Aye.
Commissioner Steger?
Aye.
Vice Chair Lockhart?
I did not attend that meeting, so I will abstain.
Chair Berliner?
Aye.
The item passes.
Thank you. Next up, we have on the regular agenda, we have item number 3, public hearing regarding conditional use permit for a maximum floor area ratio exception for a proposed 5-story 112-room hotel at 3435 Reed Ave. Mr. Laffey?
Yes, before Seamus starts his presentation, I just like to make note that he has just recently, this week as a matter of fact, been promoted to a senior planner. So we're very excited about that. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to him to deliver his senior level presentation on this particular project.
Yes, thank you, and good evening, Chair Berliner and members of the Commission. This item before you tonight is to facilitate a new 5-story, 112-room extended stay hotel at 3435 Reed Avenue. The property is zoned business park, which permits hotels by right. However, the maximum floor area ratio, or FAR, allowed in that zone is 0.5. The request before you tonight is to exceed the FAR by 36,000 square feet. So FAR is a kind of a wonky zoning tool. It is a measurement of a building's floor area ratio in relationship to the size of the parcel that a building is located on. It's derived from dividing the building square footage by the lot square footage. And it's best understood visually, and there's a helpful diagram in the agenda report. But essentially, it's a way to calculate and limit the overall massing on a site. And it is used in conjunction with other development standards such as setbacks, building heights, lot coverage, to guide the desired form of a development on a lot. So in this instance, the property is roughly a little over 2 acres, or 96,000 square feet, and the proposed hotel is 83,400 square feet, which equates to a FAR of 0.85. So for comparison, the 2 neighboring hotels have an FAR. They also received an FAR exception, and they have an FAR of 0.67 and 0.58. The zoning code allows for hotels and hospitals to exceed the FAR with a conditional use permit, since they typically generate low peak hour trips and do not create a dominating visual presence. This hotel is 1 story taller than the neighboring 2 hotels. And given that this hotel is near other hotels of similar massing, it's in an office commercial area, it's close to the interstate, and it's not near any residential. Staff is recommending the Planning Commission find that this hotel would not create a dominating visual presence and approve the FAR exception. Additionally, staff recommends this commission find the project is categorically exempt from CEQA. That's the California Environmental Quality Act under the Class 32 infill exemption. This project is subject to the Yellow Habitat Conservancy's Habitat Conservation Plan, and the applicant provided a biologist report with the application for this proposed hotel. The biologist report identifies this 2.2 acre property as an urban infill property, and for purposes of the HCP application, defines the land cover as ruderal with no covered species habitat. There is, however, 1 single elderberry shrub at the very northeast corner of the property that would be in the landscape strip. The elderberry shrub is a host plant for the federally threatened valley elderberry longhorn beetle. However, the biologist report notes that there are no beetle emergence holes present, and a project-specific condition of approval is included that prior to any on-site work for the Yellow Habitat Conservancy certificate of approval shall be issued. This approval would include mitigation and avoidance measures. And with this condition added and the biologist's findings, staff recommends that the commission find this project is exempt from CEQA. This concludes my report. I look forward to your questions. And the applicant is also on the line, but they do not have a formal presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Laffey, and congratulations on the promotion. So before I open it up for public comment, I do want to circle back to the commissioners and see if there are any questions or comments for Mr. Laffey or the public. Are there any, does anyone wish to comment on this before I open it up to the public hearing? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to comment on this item? Please raise your hand. Madam Clerk, is there anyone who wishes to comment on this item?
I'm not seeing any hand.
Okay. Now that the public hearing is open, do any of the commissioners have any comments or questions for either Mr. Laffey or the applicant who has joined us on the line? Commissioner Steger, unless that was an applause.
Apologies, I hit the wrong button there. I do have one question. In a previous life, just working through kind of trying to find meeting space in properties that were outside of downtown. I saw in the staff's report that there was going to be some meeting space identified in the plan, and I was curious how much space or how much would the space seat, if that's available?
Yeah, so they're showing a meeting room on the ground floor. Looks like it's a little over 600 square feet. So if you pull up the attachment, the floor plan attachment, first floor, you'll see that meeting room there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I kind of close up at least my questions and comments. I think having this property kind of adjacent to other properties as another option outside of downtown for both public sector and private sector employees and people looking, transits coming through West Sacramento and wanting to stay near downtown. I think it's a great additional option. And I certainly appreciate that there's some meeting space available in the kind of the proposed plan, since we're exceeding that.
Yeah, and we built this provision into the zoning code for hotels specifically so that they could provide those additional amenities to our local business community and the larger region, because those were things we were hearing we were really lacking. And cutting the FAR down, which is admittedly a bit of a not the most precision tool in the world, those are the things you're going to lose. So we felt it was important to make sure that we could accommodate hotels that would include those kinds of amenities, for anybody staying there, or just, the Chamber of Commerce wants to have a function and stay local. This is the way that staff is able to, in many ways, support this type of exception, because there is that added bonus of having those types of amenities available rather than just straight rooms.
Agreed. Well, thank you very much. And thank you, Trevor. I learned that concludes my comments and questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Steger. Commissioner Hirsch, I see that you have your hand raised.
Thanks, Chair Berliner. Let me start by echoing what the chair said. Mr. Laffey, congratulations on the new promotion. And I wanted to comment especially, thank you so much for the staff report. In my day job, I work on some wonky housing policy, sometimes dealing with the floor area ratio and FAR. And I think your explanation in the staff agenda report with the diagrams especially was probably the clearest, most straightforward explanation of FAR I have ever seen. I certainly found it helpful. Hope my fellow commissioners did too. So wanted to thank you for that. I certainly found the staff analysis very comprehensive, both in regards to the categorical exemption for CEQA being appropriate in this case. And then I agree with the staff recommendation about the FAR exception. Certainly, it looks like the 2 hotel properties in the surrounding area also received FAR exceptions in previous planning processes. And given the fact that this is located far from a residential neighborhood near an interstate freeway, I don't think the traffic intensity of having a higher floor area ratio will have a detrimental impact, and certainly think it could have a positive impact. Like Commissioner Steger said, having a hotel with upscale amenities, with a meeting space that could be used both by visitors to the city and by members of the local business community. I think this would be a pretty positive asset to have a welcome hotel addition to the city of West Sacramento. So agree with the staff analysis, would be happy to move the staff recommended action at the appropriate time.
Thank you, Commissioner Hirsch. With that, I'm not seeing any other commissioners who were wishing to comment on this. Or anyone from the public wishing to comment on this. I'm gonna go ahead and close the public hearing. I do want to echo everything that Commissioner Steger and Commissioner Hirsch have said. With one addition, I was very, very, very excited to see the plethora of EV charging spots. And not only just EV spots, right? Because I've been to places where they have, clean vehicle parking and it's just a spot, but chargers, thank you. So with that, Commissioner Hirsch has moved to approve staff recommendation. Commissioner Steger, you look like you want to say something.
Sure, I was just going to second.
Commissioner Steger seconds. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Commissioner Middleman,
Aye.
Commissioner Hirsch,
Aye.
Commissioner Steger,
Aye.
Commissioner Sablon,
Aye.
Vice Chair Lockhart,
Aye.
Chair Berliner.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next up, we have administration function, part 2, informal discussion. Is there anything anyone would like to discuss? Any parting words? Okay. With that, I guess we will adjourn the meeting at 6:17 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Good night, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Have a good night.